From WCW wrestlers who got wrecked by him in their WWE debuts to his late ex, here's who had some major beefs with Triple H. Heat between CM Punk and Triple H was pretty well known throughout CM Punk's career in WWE. In CM Punk's infamous Art of Wrestling podcast with Colt Cabana, Punk was critical of Triple H on a number of occasions. Punk says he even once barked at Triple H, "I seriously resent you for not putting me over 3 years ago when you should have." Punk is referring to the botched Summer of Punk angle, which started out great, but somehow ended with Triple H beating CM Punk clean at Night of Champions 2011.
Le who? The her.
In his final meeting with Triple H and Vince McMahon before leaving WWE, Punk said he told them, "You have shackled me. You have creatively stifled me. You have made this a very toxic environment. I no longer want to be here." In the same meeting, when Punk was offered the chance to face Triple H at WrestleMania 30, Punk said, "I don't need to wrestle him. He needs to wrestle me." Mr. Kennedy had a pretty roller coaster career in WWE. During certain points of his WWE run, it looked like Kennedy was being groomed for a huge main event push, with his natural charisma looking to be a perfect fit for WWE. He seemed to be on the brink of greatness on numerous occasions. He won Money in the Bank, but was injured soon after. Then he was all but confirmed to be Vince McMahon's illegitimate child, only to see that also canceled when Kennedy got suspended for steroid use. Unfortunately, it never worked out for the future TNA World Champion. Kennedy's problems backstage with Randy Orton were well known, with Randy Orton blaming Kennedy for supposedly being dangerous in the ring. However, Kennedy revealed in a TNA promo that he also had problems with Triple H. When Mr. Kennedy, or Mr. Anderson as he was known in TNA, finally won his first world championship, he used the opportunity to mock WWE, and more specifically Triple H. Kennedy stated that Triple H had turned Vince McMahon against him and did an impression of Triple H having a conversation with McMahon. Kennedy said in a mocking Triple H voice, "I think Kenny might be a little too funny. I don't think he's ready for it."
You're mocking me, aren't you?
Ken Shamrock revealed in an interview with Busted Open Radio that he would be open to a WWE return, but doesn't think it will happen for one specific reason, namely Triple H. When asked if he wanted to return, Shamrock said, "In a heartbeat. The only problem with that is I don't think Triple H wants me there, but it is what it is. It's sad because you got a big organization like that. The fans would love to see me go back, love to have me in there, and yet I'm not allowed to go back there, and there's nobody talking to me about going back to the organization." Bret Hart claimed in an interview with the 81 podcast that Triple H stabbed Shamrock in the back a lot during Shamrock's time in WWE. Hart said of Shamrock, "I always thought he was someone who could have been a way better pro wrestling star than what they allowed him to be. To be honest, I think Triple H didn't like him, mostly because he was connected to me." He went on to say, "But Triple H, I remember, didn't like him. And I remember Triple H was working with him a lot and was always criticizing him and talking about him. I think that was one of the guys that stabbed him in the back a lot." After leaving WWE in 2016, Alberto Del Rio was very critical of a lot of things in WWE, specifically Triple H. During a drunken Periscope stream, Del Rio said, "Everybody knows the way I feel about that company. Everybody knows the way I feel about those from WWE, and I'm going to say it again. Those from the WWE, especially the one with the big nose. So I said it again, and I'm going to put it on the site because I don't care anymore." Bizarrely, Del Rio says Paige made him believe that Triple H was responsible for her sex tape leak, and that was the reason he was angry at Triple H. A lot has been said about the toxic Paige and Alberto Del Rio relationship, with accusations of drug abuse and physical abuse being thrown by both parties. So what was actually happening during this time may never be known. Del Rio recently tweeted a picture of himself in a ring with Triple H when Del Rio was WWE champion, and has implied he is returning to WWE, though Del Rio's behavior since leaving makes that highly improbable. Scott Steiner has been critical of Triple H ever since he left WWE in 2004, especially due to their botched feud in 2003. Steiner blames Triple H for being the reason every WCW guy got buried upon their debut in WWE. On Dave Pinzer's Sitting Ringside podcast, Steiner said, "Same thing that went wrong with everybody else that went there from WCW. Look at what everybody did. Triple H beat everybody. Kevin Nash went in and he did a DQ and then he got beat. Sting got treated worse. He had one match with them and he was done. He went on to say, "That's the thing when a guy is a mark and he wants to beat everybody and who is a legitimate look at what he's done. Nothing." Then he got into professional wrestling and that was his time to shine. Steiner says Triple H took advantage of everything because he was banging the boss's daughter before saying he doesn't care about getting inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame. That podcast was in 2020, yet in 2022, Scott Steiner did indeed accept his induction into the WWE Hall of Fame along with his brother Rick Steiner. Any heat between Steiner and Triple H may have been squashed, but one never can tell when it comes to Big Papa Pump. In a 2005 interview, the Ultimate Warrior was very critical of Triple H when speaking of the infamous squash match at WrestleMania 12. After a 4-year hiatus from WWE, the Ultimate Warrior made his return at WrestleMania 12 to face a young Hunter Hearst Helmsley. At the time, Triple H looked to be rising up the card, although he'd be in the doghouse 2 months later for taking part in the infamous curtain call. In the year that followed, he was jobbed out to pretty much everybody. In the match at WrestleMania 12, Ultimate Warrior no-sold all of Triple H's offense, including the pedigree, and proceeded to beat Triple H in under 2 minutes.
When I go to the ring to do battle, it's all business.
Warrior said that Triple H had cried to Jerry Briscoe about his problems with the match rather than talking to Warrior directly. Warrior said the match was nothing personal against Triple H. Warrior was simply a bigger star than him at the time, and it was just business. He ended his statement by saying if Triple H wants to tell the story any other way, then he is just a, quote, puny little and puny little head. Warrior did, of course, eventually return to the WWE fold in order to join the Hall of Fame in 2014, not long before his untimely death. Bret Hart has always been very critical of Triple H. In a 2013 interview with Wrestle Talk, Hart said that while he did have some respect for Triple H, he didn't think Triple H was a particularly great wrestler. Hart even criticized Triple H's critically acclaimed WrestleMania 28 match with The Undertaker, saying it was mediocre, a 3 out of 10 or 4 out of 10 at best. Hart also said he couldn't think of a good match Triple H had ever had. In an interview with the 81 podcast, Hart went further, saying, "There's always some guys you know that no matter what they do with them, you always wonder how they got there. I never thought Triple H ever had an original idea for anything. I always thought he was overrated. The reason people even know him or remember him today is because Daddy or Daddy-in-law put him over." In a shoot video, Macho Man Randy Savage was apparently angered by the fact that Triple H had once called him a dinosaur in a magazine interview. Savage responded by saying, "Triple H, I'll slap you and then take your girl. I'm gonna take Stephanie McMahon and take her on a ride around the block, and I might give her back, but I may not." This could have just been trash talk. However, there have been long-standing rumors about Randy Savage and Stephanie McMahon having a secret affair ever since the 90s.
Would you see?
When Savage mysteriously left WWE in 1994, rumors began to swirl that the real reason he left and a reason why he never came back to WWE was because Savage had an inappropriate relationship with McMahon, who was underage at the time. These rumors were never confirmed, although Dutch Mantel revealed on his podcast, Storytime with Dutch Mantel, that it was accepted as fact that Savage was told to stay away from a young Stephanie McMahon in the 90s. This shoot comment by Savage made many think there may have been some truth to the rumor. In a 2013 interview with Steve Gerweck, Paul London spoke of his disdain for Triple H. London would make some of the same criticisms that Bret Hart did, saying Triple H would have the same match every night and that newer talent like Bryan Danielson showed him up in the ring. On the Two-Man Power Trip of Wrestling podcast, Paul London also said that he was disgusted that Triple H inserted himself into Kevin Owens' big moment of winning the Universal Championship. He said, "It really disgusts me to see Triple H with his phony fat smile draping all over Kevin Steen and saying that I believed in this guy all along. He doesn't fit the mold, and I love that about him because cookie cutter is boring. I think Hunter just does that to keep himself relevant at these new guys' expense. It is almost like he's trying to give himself a rub off of these guys, and it disgusts me." Infamously, London and his partner Brian Kendrick were randomly attacked and pedigreed by Triple H after the tag team came to the game's aid on an episode of Raw in 2007. Rob Van Dam had a successful career in WWE. However, according to RVD himself, if it wasn't for Triple H, he could have achieved much more. Rob Van Dam says he wasn't happy with how Triple H got to make big career-altering decisions just because he was with the boss's daughter. Speaking on the Two-Man Power Trip of Wrestling podcast, Van Dam spoke about how Triple H would position himself backstage, saying, I wasn't happy about the situation at the time. You don't look at it like, hey, this guy is not a CEO, but whatever his position was at the time is qualified to make important decisions. You look at it more like it's not fair just because he's with the boss's daughter. A lot of wrestlers don't grow enough to see the whole picture, so forever their opinion will be like it is in the book they wrote where they're like, if it wasn't for him, I would have had a great career. Rob Van Dam doesn't appear to hold too much ill will towards Triple H these days, however, and he admits he had some great matches with the game. RVD also regrets inadvertently injuring Triple H at Survivor Series 2002. Triple H and the late Chyna met at Killer Kowalski's wrestling school in Massachusetts in the early 90s. The two began dating soon after and would continue to date in secret, as Chyna revealed in her autobiography, If They Only Knew, until Triple H began a high-profile relationship with Stephanie McMahon. Chyna found out about Triple H and Stephanie's cheating when she found a love letter from Stephanie in Triple H's briefcase. Chyna's former manager, Anthony Anzaldo, spoke about their breakup in an interview with Wrestling Inc., saying, he never gave her a ring, but Triple H gave Stephanie a ring, so that's when Chyna started to go, is this real? And he's like, why are you saying that? Don't accuse me. She goes to his briefcase and picked the lock, and found a letter from Stephanie professing her love, approaches Hunter, and proceeds to get into World War III. When they had that encounter, let's just say it was loud and there was issues. And he apologized, and that was the last time they spoke. Chyna's sister says Chyna was devastated after the breakup, saying she thought Triple H was the only man Chyna ever truly loved.